Hello, Seekers, and welcome to Venus in Retro Tarot. In today's Pick a Card, we're going to look at a specific desire or goal in your life right now and how Spirit wants you to take wise action to make it happen. So let's jump right into the reading selection. There are 3 piles to pick from. We have the Lioness Oracle Tarot and the Opal Stone. For pile 2, we have the Moonchild Tarot and the Zebra Jasper. And then for pile 3, we have the Gold Lyre Tarot and the Carnelian. You may be drawn to more than one pile. If you need more time to pick, go ahead and pause the reading. Ask your guides and higher self, what wise action do I need to take to get where I want to go? Once you're ready, the timestamps are in the description box and the pinned comment below. So I will see you in your reading. Hello, pile 1, and welcome to your reading. So let's look at how Spirit wants you to take wise action to achieve your current goal. I already have some oracle cards laid out for you, and then we're going to pull your tarot cards and round out the reading with more oracle messages. So let's go ahead and dive in and see what we have. Now, this oracle card is going to come later, so I'm just going to leave that here, but let's go ahead and turn these over. So we have Earth, we have Friendship, and we have the Boar and Pumpkin, Confidence. Okay. So let me go ahead and kind of tune into what Spirit is trying to say with these cards. I'm getting the sense, especially since this group picked the Opal Stone, that you guys are very intuitive and very sensitive as well. You might feel like you live a lot of the world in your head, or that you can't quite feel grounded and centered in your body. And that sometimes that you're so sensitive that you feel like you really can't be out in the world, or that it feels like too much to be around other people. Like you take on their emotions, you kind of absorb what everyone around you is feeling. And, you know, there's a lot of pain in the world. And I think sometimes with this group, it could be that the people that are around you are in your orbit, and, you know, it could be on purpose and it could be, you know, not on purpose. It's just the nature of the world as well, that, you know, the things that they go through that are really heavy and hard to deal with, it kind of sticks to you, or it gets absorbed by you. And, you know, that is kind of a part of your purpose, if that makes sense, that you are kind of here to be able to feel into others' emotions and kind of help them through difficult times. And, you know, there might be a little bit of uncertainty in you about how capable you are of actually being able to carry out what it is that you feel like you're here to do. And with the Earth Oracle card here, I can really see that day to day, it can kind of be challenging for you to do the things that are required, you know, of being human, so to speak, like the tasks of, you know, getting up and getting on with your day, or like holding a 9 to 5 and, you know, taking care of the little things, the tasks that are like running errands and paying bills. And, you know, that is just, some people are good at that. Some are not. There's no tea, no shade. It's just like, that is not for you. And, you know, Spirit is coming through to say that it's okay if you're not good at those things. Part of the reason that you're here as well is to kind of master those things over time. So if you feel like you're not where you want to be, or the people that, you know, with this Friendship card, that your cohort or your generation, the people that you might have gone to high school with, or if you went to college, the people that you went to college with, or like, you know, just the people that you grew up around, if they're more established than you, if they're further along on their life path than you, it can make you feel a sense of like, what's wrong with me? You know, that your confidence is kind of shaken. Like, why can't I get my shit together? Is something that's really coming through, because those things that quote unquote normal people do in their day to day is just really challenging. And Spirit is saying that's okay. That there are people in the world that you will encounter and that you're going to encounter that are more aligned with you, that, you know, you will strike up friendships and, you know, really be part of a community that makes you feel more confident to be in your skin, to be more present, to be more grounded. And, you know, this feels like a group that might have like a really challenging Saturn placement, or maybe Saturn retrograde, or Saturn in detriment, maybe in Aries, or Saturn in Cancer. It's not that it's not your reading, excuse me, if you don't have those placements, but Saturn is the planet of responsibility and duty and, you know, getting things done the right way. And when you have Saturn in a challenging placement, it can be, you almost have like a really late bloomer kind of life path. And Spirit is coming through to say that you're right where you're meant to be. So what you're trying to achieve right now is to really get to a place where you feel like life is not taking you for a ride, that, you are taking charge of your life and life isn't, running you over. So I can really see that, that's a big task. It can feel really overwhelming. And one thing that I can really hear Spirit saying is that, like, in order for you to feel a sense of confidence from gaining those accomplishments that come with gradually getting to a place where you feel more stable, more grounded, is to give yourself small milestones or, small goals along the way. Like, don't start at the start line and then create a finish line that is 26 miles long, like a marathon, and not give yourself any small markers along your path to kind of like look back and say, oh, I did make some progress. I came like a quarter of the way, or, an eighth of the way, because life is a journey and you may not realize how much progress you're making, and that can really hurt your confidence and it can really set you back. But you're meant to keep that sense of sensitivity and that softness, even in your groundedness and what it is that you're trying to manifest, and to be able to connect with people without it completely overwhelming you or feeling like you're an outsider or that you're not enough, because you are. So, that's really amazing. I think that that's very honorable, to believe in yourself enough to trust that you can do this. And I really believe that we all can. We can all strive to, make little improvements in our lives every day. And it doesn't have to be what culture or, what wider society considers an achievement. It's really setting your own standard is what I get with this confidence. It's like what is true and aligned for you. So that's really beautiful, pile one. So I'm going to go ahead and pull some tarot cards, see if we can get some more information from Spirit. I already pre-shuffled, so we're going to look at your tarot and I will explain what each placement means. So Spirit, what messages do you have for pile one? What messages do you have for pile one about wise actions to accomplish your goals? So already Spirit's coming through saying, take your time. And, if you're trying to establish connections, to really work on being grounded and centered and, present within yourself. And that will come, along the way. Like, you're naturally going to attract those people that are aligned with you and your vibration. And that doesn't mean like high vibe, low vibe. It just means like on your wavelength where you guys vibe with each other, if that makes sense. So, that's really cool. And, just give yourself the spaciousness, the grace to grow into what it is that you're building for yourself. Because it really is a big task. Trust me, I'm disabled. I've been on disability for the past like 12 years. And I look at, some other people that went to high school with me. I look at my husband and, I'm like, I should be more established. I should have a career. I should. But, shitting all over yourself just makes you feel like shit. And I'm learning right along with you guys. Like, I don't claim to have all the answers, but, we're right where we're meant to be. And I feel like this year has been full of lessons about that. I mean, this reading is timeless. So whenever you see this is when it's meant to resonate. But like at this time, it's the end of 2022. And I feel like this year has been a really big year of lessons. And, going into the new year, there's going to be a lot that shifts and changes and that you'll be ready for it. So let's go ahead and pull the rest of your spread. We already got one card. Okay, Spirit, guide me to where the rest of the cards are. Okay. Oh, well, we got two here that wanted to come out. I'm just going to go with it. And then your bottom card for the outcome. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn these over and see what you have. So your first card is the Eight of Swords. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Eight of Swords. And this is the resist position. This is what Spirit wants you to avoid doing because it's most likely to have negative consequences for you. And this is the Six of Pentacles you have here. And this is the persist position. So this is where Spirit wants you to gently push yourself forward here and get out of your comfort zone. Okay. And then this last placement is exist. So this is where Spirit wants you to surrender and be in flow. So you got the Two of Wands and the Knight of Swords. That's amazing. Okay, and we're gonna leave the outcome until we interpret these cards. So let me go ahead and do this right here. Okay, so I'm already picking up a couple of things from these cards. It's kind of just like what I was saying with the confidence thing, that you might get in your head and make a lot of negative comparisons about where you are and where other people are in their lives that are around the same age as you, or maybe in the same industry. If there is, you know, a business that you want to be in, or, you know, there's a creative field that you want to be in, and you feel like, damn, like they have been doing this for so long and I'm so new at this, even though I'm X amount of years old, or I feel like, you know, I should be here, you know, rather than, you know, where I am right now. I should be where they are. And Spirit is saying, cut it out with the Eight of Swords. And I know that sounds harsh, but that's literally just what I heard in my head, like, to stop it. Because the Eight of Swords is a trap that you put yourself in. It's a trap of the mind. In the Smith Rider-Waite, there's a person that is surrounded by swords and they are tied up. But if you look closely, they're not really bound. They can easily slip out of what it is that is wrapped around them and walk away. There's an opening in the swords, and they are, in a sense, trapped by their beliefs about a certain situation or how things seem to be rather than how they actually are. And, you know, that can kind of be where we put ourselves after being in the Seven of Swords. You know, because the Seven of Swords has a lot to do with deception. And there's an element of self-deception as well, because we can do that to ourselves, right? We can tell ourselves a certain story about how, oh, I had all these plans for the future and I was going to have this job. I was going to be married by this time in my life. And, you know, I wanted to have my career established and have children, or, you know, and I know that's very like heteronormative, but I'm just giving examples here where like we map out our lives. And then when it doesn't go our way or we hit a speed bump, we feel like we're stuck there forever with that Eight of Swords. But it's not true. Sometimes we will hit a roadblock and Spirit is just putting a barrier in our path to kind of redirect us in a way that is more aligned for us. So there really aren't mistakes where you might have felt like, you know, I should have made this decision. I should have gone to art school instead of going to college, or I should have taken a gap year. You know, who knows? The possibilities are really endless. Or, you know, I should have put off having children because I realized that I had so much life left in me that I wanted to do before I really settled down and put down roots. You know, but the story is going to be different for all of you, you know, different things for different people, because this is a general reading. But it's like we don't realize that within the circumstances that we're in, within the experiences that we've had, there is wisdom that you've gained, right? Because this is a swords card. Swords are a card of the mind, and you develop wisdom. You learn certain things as you progress in life. And even if that feels like you've lost time to decisions that you wish you hadn't made, or, you know, people that you wish you hadn't met, or things you wish you hadn't done, it's like you're here now. So what are you going to do with what you have right now? Because how is looking back in regret, it's not going to rewind time. Like, how is that making you reach your goal? Like, how is that moving the ball forward is basically what Spirit is trying to say. So the way that you persist is gently pushing yourself out of your comfort zone by meeting new people and, you know, finding ways to be of service to other people, because you really do have a lot of gifts to give. And that was something that I was really picking up, especially with this Earth card. And you have the Suit of Pentacles here. The Six of Pentacles is all about give and take. And, you know, it's related to the Lovers, which really does speak of friendships, of connections as well. And you have a lot more to give in relationships than you may realize you do. You may not feel as confident in relationships because you might feel like when you meet someone that you are already in kind of a comparison trap and stacking yourself up against someone and trying to see whether or not you feel good enough to be in their presence is something that I'm really, really picking up. And that is really some, inner child work that you probably really need to do, pile one, where you really need to love on your inner kid, because there's somewhere along the line where they didn't get what they needed. They didn't get that nurturing, because the Six of Pentacles, is really about acts of service and giving to someone who is in need, and not necessarily expecting something in return. And you might have felt like in your early life, and maybe even with your family, with your caregivers, what have you, that relationships were really transactional. Like, in order to get your needs met, you felt like you had to perform a certain way or do things that pleased the people that were in your life, and that you had to earn their love, earn their attention, earn their care. So that can really create a sense of, what is wrong with me? It really can. And there isn't anything wrong with you. What Spirit wants you to do is gently push yourself to kind of step out there and, meet other people, experience new things where, you might have maybe hung out with a certain type of person because you felt like, or a certain group, because you felt like this is, what I'm expected to do, or this follows the norm and the expectation of my family or my culture or my group. And that's never to disrespect anybody else's culture or where they come from. But there might have been, with this earth element, a sense of preserving a way that things had been done. And it's kind of, an invitation to step out of that and to do something different, to be a part of something different, and to share your gifts in a different way, because you never know who you're blessing with your presence, is something that I'm really getting from the Six of Pentacles, that, you really might find the place that you're truly comfortable by getting out of your comfort zone, that it's really counterintuitive, but it makes perfect sense once you've experienced it. Like, everything that's new kind of feels uncomfortable at first, but once you settle in, and especially if it feels good and it works out and you meet people that really are aligned with you, or you experience something that, like, wow, if I hadn't done this thing, if I hadn't gone here, I wouldn't have experienced this thing that I now love. Like, I came across tarot and astrology because one day I was on YouTube and I was looking up different therapy videos because I'm really into psychology. And one just kind of came across my timeline and I was like, what is this? But I was just in a kind of a day in a mood where I was like, sure, fuck it, I will try something different. And it really did enrich my life because this is the path that I was searching for. I felt really lost, So that's really what Spirit is saying, is to keep yourself open. And where that Spirit wants you and your guides want you to exist and surrender and be in flow is really using your voice, with this Knight of Swords, to really not be afraid to speak, to say the things that you think, to express yourself and your feelings, and what the things that you want for yourself, they matter, and what you say to yourself as well really matters. So then the self-talk that you have, like, they want you to kind of surrender some of that negative self-talk and be in flow of really speaking love and abundance and expansion over yourself. Like in the Two of Wands, that is a period of you discovered something that really lights your fire, and you're really planning the next steps of how to make it happen, make it real, right? Especially with this earth, like, you're trying to bring it down from spirit into the physical realm. And, that's really the part of surrender, is just to, speak to yourself in a different way and to speak it out into the universe, because you're manifesting it. And what you say, you're also hearing it. So, do those things and say those things that put you in the energy of feeling confident, of feeling like, hey, I do matter. I have something to give. I have special talents. And, there is no one on earth that's like me. There can be people that have similar energy to you, but you're unique, and you have something very unique to contribute. So that's really important for you to understand, pile one. And this card is your possible outcome. Look at that. Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is like a whole new energy for you, especially with that feeling of maybe not having the confidence to really step out and do something different. The Seven of Wands is fiery and willing to stand their ground and say, I have a right to be here, that is willing and able to face challenges and do it in a way that's really, really brave, and that you're really a champion for other people, that you feel very confident and you're able to speak up. So with this Knight of Swords, it's unreal that, there's an element of the Seven of Wands where you really do have to say, this is what I'll accept, this is what I won't accept, especially if you've been railroaded, like I said, like by, people from your past, or, family members that you grew up with, or, just people that you've kind of experienced life with from your developmental years, where, they've kind of chipped away at your confidence, and where you felt like you really didn't have your own voice. You're reclaiming that. So that's where you're going. Your goal of really being in connection, it's really in view for you. It's there. So, the Seven of Wands really does say, like, you can be fierce, and, be fierce about the way that you see yourself, be fierce in the way that you go after your goals. Like, you don't have to be timid. Like this Eight of Swords, like, look how scared this house cat is. Like, they look like they're scared of their own shadow. And look how fierce this tiger is. Like, they're not someone to be fucked with. And that's kind of the energy that you're coming into, which is like confidence that you can move forward, that you have the drive, the will to make anything that you want happen, to be able to stand up for yourself and stand and be counted in relationships, and to be able to achieve what it is that you want to do. Like, it doesn't even have to be just limited to, building yourself up in, the physical sense, but just, in accomplishing any kind of goal. You're kind of putting yourself on the path of like experiencing your first big win that kind of snowballs into a pattern of being in a feeling of like, yeah, I can do that again because I've done it, and that's really amazing. So, that's really what Spirit wants you to focus on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a few oracle cards that are questions that Spirit wants to pose to you to kind of ponder and consider while you are on this path. So let's see what Spirit has to say. What questions do you have for pile one, Spirit? What questions do you have for pile one? It's like you're getting a whole new lease on life. Like, where you might have felt, like you were ready to jump out of your skin, when challenges happen, or like you wanted to run and hide. And, that's not a knock on anybody, because, we all deal with stress differently. It's like you're going to feel like, I can handle whatever life throws at me. And that doesn't mean that like shit's not going to be challenging, but it's like you just will feel like I can do that. So here, am I apologizing for my truth? So I'm going to go ahead and read the back. It says, what part of you is apologizing for your truth? Why? Today's soul action. Today, be proud of your truth. Catch yourself when you want to apologize or withhold parts of it. Confidence. Have the confidence to speak your truth, right? You never know whose life you will change when you are brave enough to speak it. That's right. That's what I said. Like, your presence matters. You never know whose life you'll change. Be the lighthouse that shines on the courage that lives in all of us. This will give others permission to speak their own truth. There's room for all of us. And today's mantra, courage is contagious. That is beautiful. Yeah. So like, you're done apologizing for yourself. You're done, asking for permission to breathe and live your life. You're taking charge. You're really taking charge. You're not entrapping yourself in, these thoughts, or, even thoughts that other people might have projected onto you about what you are and aren't capable of. It's like you're giving all of that back to, the people that might have made you feel those things. And then, the things that you might feel like for a time that you aren't capable of. You're stepping into a whole new energy, pile one. Okay, let's get one more question. Oh, that's okay. That one came out quick. Am I focused on what I am losing or gaining? Okay. Hey, that's a word right there, especially with the Six of Pentacles, because it is about what you receive, or you can be the receiver or the person who is giving. So which side are you going to focus on? Because you have to give something up to get something new, right? So it says, are you going through some change? Are you scared to let go because of what you might lose? What if you shifted your focus from what you might lose to what you might gain? Endings are actually new beginnings. Today's soul action. Today, make a list of all the things you will gain from the change you are going through. Feel your heart, Take a breath and deepen into trust. Amazing things are coming. Awesome. I love that. Okay. So now that we have looked at those, now what I want to do is pull our mystery oracle and see what it is. And we got Prism. I love that card. That's actually the one that is on the box. This is the Nirvana Oracle. And I'm actually going to read these out of the book because the book is so good and it has so much wisdom in it. So I'm going to go ahead and get that and we will read Prism out of the book and let's see how this relates to your reading. So it says, Prism. You are what you believe in. You become that which you believe you can become. And that's a quote from the Bhagavad Gita. And it says, when light moves through a prism, it is refracted by the angles and shape of the object. Because of the nature of its geometry and structure, it is able to take solid white light and separate it into a spectrum of differing colors. A rainbow emerges from a singularity at the speed of light, only after passing through mirrored three-dimensional reality. The prism card asks us to reflect on this metaphor, on the current shape of how you're relating to a single thought or idea. Oh my God, okay, yeah, that's very Eight of Swords. And okay, let's see what else it says. Have you found yourself stuck in a myopic point of view, unable to release shackles of uncertainty, defeat, or limiting belief? The prism is here to remind you that whatever is feeling like a single-minded perception can be bent into boundlessness by seeing into the spectrum of potential that exists within whatever timeline we choose to participate in. The various rays of reality can color our experiences with new realizations and ideas that radiate iridescence. Pain has the potential to be transmuted through the prism of humor if we look at the shades of adversity from a different angle. Levity is there waiting for us to discover the magic of comedy and the crazy wisdom and absurdity if we're able to bend our beliefs and adapt our mindsets. If you can find the courage in your heart to fully face what you fear, perhaps what you'll find beyond the apparition is merely a hungry ghost in need of love and compassion. Treat your demons to cookies and tea. You may see that they're just angels in disguise, and a caring heart can cauterize prior wounding and projections of density. Belief has a prismatic effect on thought, and if you move through what is containing or constraining your ability to find momentum, you may find an infinite variety of possibilities within the refracted rainbow of reality. Oh my goodness, that is beautiful. And there's a mantra here, and it says, I paint my reality with a bold spectrum of colorful shades. I allow experience to be filtered through a prism, which shows me the wisdom within every color grade. I can bend light with love as a force of my will. The rainbow of life is here to show me that my life's journey doesn't always need to be a battle uphill. Okay, I love that. So that is very much aligned with what I was saying about your ability to manifest and what it is that you say in the stories that, that you frame, for yourself about what it is that is possible for you. And there is a need for you to transmute some of that old energy and really create some gold, out of lead that you've been given, by life. And it's really possible, Pile One. It is. So what we're going to do now is I have another oracle deck, and we're just going to pull 2 more oracle cards to kind of close out the reading and see what else Spirit has to say to close us out. Okay. It says, convey your meaning. Reflect on the way you communicate with others and with yourself. Okay, this is your repeating message here. Be sure to express your thoughts and feelings from your heart and with respect and sincerity. I love that. Okay, so yeah, really speak from your heart. Speak your truth. Don't be afraid with the 7 of Wands. Say it with your chest, whatever it is that you need to say, and, do it authentically. We have the Lioness Oracle Tarot here. The lion, represents Leo. It's heart-centered courage. That you have the capacity, to do it, to say what you need, and to make meaningful connections based on who you really are, right? So let's go ahead and get another, okay. And we have In the Light of the Moon. A full moon can shine light on what you have been resisting. This can be anything from your fears to your soul's beauty. Yeah, are you afraid to see yourself as you truly are, the good parts? If you're used to only seeing yourself and giving yourself a negative review of your life and of your abilities, do you have the courage to see the beauty inside of yourself, to flip that on its head and, open up and face that fear, because it can be scary, to really live life from a confident place when we're used to, people knocking us down or us beating our own selves up for, mistakes we might have made, or, the choices that we wish we had made, or, things that aren't even our fault, right? Because some things are just out of our control. That's what the Wheel of Fortune is all about, right? And that's a lot of what life is about. We wouldn't have these challenging aspects, and everybody's got a Mars, everybody has a Pluto, everybody has Uranus in their chart, the planet of upsets. These things happen. And how do you speak to yourself? How do you nurture yourself through these things? How do you love on yourself in spite of the things that you may see as failings, because they're not. It's just part of what makes you uniquely you. So, that's what I have for you, Pile 1. I'm going to leave it here. And thanks so much for watching this. If the reading resonated, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Drop me a comment letting me know what pile you picked and if it gave you any clarity. I always find it interesting to see what piles you guys are drawn to. And I read and respond to every single comment. And if writing out a whole comment feels like a lot, you can drop me an emoji that speaks to where you are or how the reading resonated. Subscribe to my channel if you feel called to, and I'd love to have you here. Stay safe, keep your heart open, and remember, you are the magic. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Hello, Pile 2, and welcome to your reading. So let's look at how Spirit wants you to take wise action to achieve your current goal. I already have some oracle cards here for you, and actually this one we're going to pull later in the reading, but we're going to turn over these oracle cards, pull some tarot, and then round out your reading with some more oracle messages. So let's go ahead and see what Spirit has for you as far as the themes that you're dealing with. All right, we have new life. Wow, that is really big, Pile 2. Let's see what else we have. Growth. Okay. And let's see what else. Starting over. Okay. Wow. Okay. Pile 2. You guys are like going through a complete like death and rebirth moment right now. Like a complete transformation into a new cycle. Like you guys are leaving some stuff behind from the past. That's what I see. Your goal is to step into just a completely different you. You're shedding old skin. This is really transmuting some, heavy past energy, maybe transmuting like old trauma especially, and living from a more like spiritual place, definitely, especially with the spiral. And the purple here is very, related to the crown chakra and the third eye chakra. But the spiral here is a very spiritual symbol, and it's a very old symbol, and it really speaks to the nature of the way that time moves, right? Time isn't linear, and when we are coming into our spiritual journey and our spiritual knowledge, we start to notice the cycles and how time and certain themes move through our lives in phases. And this new life for you is kind of like a phase that I think for you, at least what I can see in my mind's eye, is that you have seen this coming for a long time. That this death process has been happening for you. It might be that you have been going through a dark night of the soul. You might have been through more than one dark night of the soul to kind of like purge old energy. You definitely have been through some very heavy experiences and, very, I don't want to say dark experiences because that kind of puts it in a negative connotation, but like some really like painful experiences. And it's like those things are being put on the fire. Like you're shedding so much of the past in order to come into a new life that it's like you've always known that this was coming and you didn't quite know when. And it's like you're blossoming into it. And it feels a little bittersweet to me. Like there is a lot that you're letting go of that, it feels painful and you're glad to move on from. But at the same time, there are memories that are nostalgic and, feel special to you that are kind of tied to those times as well, that can't come with you necessarily. But, all in all, it feels like a positive change that you've really been waiting for. And, this new life, what I want to say and that Spirit is saying is that there's so many blessings that are coming along the way that will really kind of, I don't want to say replace what you're leaving behind, but it's just like, it's almost like you really can't fathom what's going to happen for you, Pile 2. The growth that you're coming into, it's really it's infinite and it's almost beyond what can be described here, especially with all this blue. Like it's connected to the throat chakra. It's like there's a real connection between your expression and your cosmic wisdom that you're coming into. And this really is some related to a goal that you've really been trying to manifest. And this is kind of the goal that you're reaching, of really leaving a past behind that just really was painful and that you didn't deserve. And it just feels like there was a lot of that you experienced early in your life that made you feel like why was I born, or why am I even here, is what I'm hearing. If suffering is my fate. And if you feel comfortable and that resonates with you, can you drop me a comment? Because I really am getting that coming through, where it just felt like there was a lot that there were a lot of death moments in your life, and that could be metaphorical, it could be literal, that you experienced, but there wasn't quite a phoenixing from the ashes, or there wasn't quite an ability to start over. It's just like these experiences kind of clung to you and hung on to you energetically, where it's like you didn't feel like you had the ability to start over, to leave them behind. And this is where you're really calling in spirit and asking for this. And this is the goal. This is what spirit says that you've really been building up to. So, this really is coming for you. But what spirit wants you to know with the tarot cards that I'm about to pull is the wise action steps that you can take that kind of keep the momentum going, that won't set you back, from where you've already made so much progress. It's like the wisdom that they can impart on you to kind of help you along on this path, because you're so close. You really are starting over. You're shedding so much from the past that's already, it's done, it's dead, it's over with. This feels very like 10 of Swords to me. Like it's putting something completely behind and learning you got everything that you could from that, and now it's time to step into something completely new with the wisdom still. I don't know if you could hear that. That was my Alexa, but it just went doo-doo. It's almost like spirit confirming, yeah, like that is over, and you're stepping into new wisdom, new knowledge. Like it's just like a completely leaving everything behind. So yeah, I already pre-shuffled your tarot, and look, on the back of the deck is the Magician. Yeah, it's like you have so many tools, so much wisdom, so much ability to affect change in your life now that you might not even be able to see yet, but you will if you haven't seen it yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep shuffling and pull your spread, and I will explain what each of the spread placements mean once I get your cards. But Spirit, what do you have? What tarot messages do you have for pile 2 about this new life, this starting over, this almost stepping into the liminal living? Oh, let's look at these. Got 9 of Wands, 9 of Cups. These are too many. 7 of Cups, 8 of Swords, 7 of Swords. Okay, so that was way too many. I'm going to keep shuffling. I'm just dropping cards. I apologize if that was really loud. Okay. Spirit. This deck is kind of unwieldy and my hands are not big enough. Okay. Spirit, please tell me when to stop shuffling. What do you have for pile 2? Okay, one more shuffle. All right. And pull your spread. Spirit, guide me to where the cards want to split. Okay. So the first card position is resist. And this is what Spirit wants you to avoid doing because it could have negative consequences for you. And we have the Page of Cups. Okay. And this is where Spirit wants you to persist. And that's gently push yourself forward and out of your comfort zone. The Tower, that really does speak to starting over, letting the past die. I'm like hearing that quote from Star Wars from Kylo Ren. I don't know if you guys like Star Wars, but it's like, let the past die, kill it if you have to. That just came through. Yeah, starting over, like, kill it if you have to. Let Spirit do the work, because the Tower never takes away anything that was meant to stay, right? And the third spread placement is exist, and this is where you're meant to surrender and be in flow, and that's strength. Okay, oh, yeah, I totally see this for you. This is really, really amazing, pile 2. And the bottom of the deck is going to be your outcome, and we're going to save that until after we talk about your tarot cards. All right, so the Page of Cups, this is what Spirit wants you to avoid doing. And while the Page of Cups is really beautiful energy, it's imaginative, it's, really living from a youthful place that's full of hope and wonder, it still gives me very Six of Cups energy if you're familiar with that card. And that's really what I was saying earlier, that even though you're ready to step into a new life, there might be parts of the past, even if it's tied to really traumatic experiences, that, there was some good there. Like there was some beautiful things there, or, trigger warning. I'm picking up something very specific right now. That if you have a history with abuse, and again, I am not a licensed mental health counselor, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, anything. This is just what I'm picking up, and I recommend that if you have any, trauma or any instances, of abuse, that you seek the proper support that that can help you through that. But what I'm really picking up is that if you have had any experiences with abuse or abusers, that not all of our memories of the people who hurt us are bad, right? They can be, many things to us, that, they can still be our caregivers, or, they can be the people who, took us to our baseball games, or, took us to our concerts, took us, made really special moments with us. And that can be at any age, right? That can be parents, that can be friends, that can be romantic partners. It can really be, that can be on the job, that, if you've had any kind of like power dynamics happen in the workplace, that, there can be an element of romanticizing certain parts of relationships, and that I am never placing blame on anyone. We all process trauma in our own ways. And there is an element of what Spirit is asking is to kind of try to take more of a realistic approach and perspective to the way that you think about certain instances or people. And I want to say that very carefully, because I never want to come off as if I am victim blaming or shaming. Absolutely not. And this is where I really want to emphasize that you have the proper support around you when dealing with heavy issues like that. Because if you're trying to go that alone and do a lot of that processing by yourself, you can really trigger parts of yourself that make you feel unsafe. And I never want to put anybody in that kind of headspace, without suggesting the proper supports. There are hotlines that, and, so many places that you can kind of seek that support. And I just want to make sure that you're first and foremost taking care of yourself when I bring up these issues, these topics. But, Spirit is really saying with the Page of Cups that, as you reflect on the past, as you kind of are in this period of starting over and letting go, to, see yourself through the eyes of the innocence, right? To see your innocence with the Page of Cups is really something that I'm feeling, to kind of give yourself back that innocence that was taken from you as well. But then also to not take on some of the burdens and responsibilities that other people might have given to you before you were ready for them, or that you didn't deserve, because that really will kind of energetically keep those ties to the past. And, it will keep you kind of from making that clean break, where, it's never like when you're starting a new life that you're going to completely forget the old. I don't want to make it seem like that. Like, it would be wonderful if that was possible. But it's like, there is an element of really, what I can see is like forgiving yourself for the ways that you were unable to protect yourself, because that is not your fault, in those positions where you were made to be vulnerable, to not take on, the responsibility for that. That's not yours. And also, to really allow yourself the spaciousness and an outlet to properly process those inner child feelings, to move through those really, really deep emotions, so that you can kind of transmute them and integrate them and kind of reclaim your identity and who you are. And that, that way you can expand and grow. Because sometimes, when we are holding on to the things that happened in the past, when we internalize them and make them our fault, when they're not, it can shrink us, it can diminish us, right? And you don't deserve that, is something that Spirit is saying. So I felt like that was really important for you, pile 2, is to give yourself the space to do the healing. It's always worthwhile. You're never going to look back and say, I wish I hadn't taken the time to pour into myself that healing. So very, very important. And where Spirit wants you to persist, and gently push yourself out of your comfort zone is the Tower. And the Tower is one of those cards that, it can be very scary in the tarot. It never feels good. It's kind of shocking. It's destabilizing. And when you've had a lot of destabilizing experiences in your past, it's very anxiety inducing to always feel like, when is the other shoe going to drop? What's coming next, right? And what Spirit wants you to know with the Tower is that you can't make space for the new when you're clinging to the old, clinging to the past, especially the past that feels safe because it's familiar to you, but it really is unsafe. It's just comfortable because it's what you know, right? And Spirit is really trying to do their thing, and they don't want to do it painfully, right? They don't want to make the Tower painful for you, but they do want to provide a clearing so that you can go back and make a solid foundation for your new life, right? And for your growth and expansion. But there is a level of trust that you need to kind of put in them and kind of work with Spirit to create a level of trust. So you have to kind of put that into perspective, because there are things naturally where you're going to have to give up certain things in order to bring in the new in your life. And that's really what I'm getting from the Tower, is that Spirit wants to help you, that Spirit wants to co-create with you. But there is a level of maybe control that you're exercising right now out of a sense of needing safety. And that's okay. That's okay, especially if you've gone through a lot of experiences that made you feel unsafe. But what Spirit wants to tell you is that they're never going to take anything from you that didn't need to go, right? And, the things that are those comfort items that might make you feel safe. And, those could be, certain addictions. And trust me, I do not addiction shame. Like if you, drink to feel comfortable, if you use, drugs to feel comfortable, anything can be a drug, right? It can be food. It can be exercise. It can be, working too much. It can be not nourishing yourself enough. It can be like so many ways that, it can be physically or mentally that we can like harm ourselves. And, it feels safe, but it is sort of a way to punish ourselves, or, the relationships that we establish because they feel comfortable and they feel safe, but they're echoes of the past. Spirit wants to come in and kind of clean that up for you. And they're just saying, just allow. And it won't always be easy, but, to just remind yourself that, this is for your benefit, for the ability for you to make space to start over. And where they want you to exist is the Strength card. And this is really beautiful, pile 2. This is a reminder that you can do hard things, that life is always going to present challenges for you. That is just the nature of being human. And like in the spiral, in the liminal, in the physical, everywhere, like there's an abundant experience, like opportunity for growth and expansion into who you truly are, right? So the Strength card is ruled by Leo, and it's ruled, Leo rules the heart. So it really is about surrendering to having an open heart and having a sense of, courage for what it is that you can experience in the future if you allow, yourself to let go. Right? Let go of the past and let go of some of that control and let Spirit do their thing and work on your behalf, right? Because sometimes we are under the illusion that we can control everything because that makes us feel powerful. But it's not, because then we end up taking responsibility, right, for things that are out of our control. And that can be very disempowering. So it's really just taking responsibility for what's ours and then giving responsibility back for what is not ours, and just moving through the world in a way that's aligned and heart-centered. And, there will be times that are easier and there will be times that are more difficult, right, in the spiral, but you're moving towards growth. And that is a really beautiful thing. And that's what Spirit really wants for you, is to allow that to happen. So let's look at your possible outcome. Wow. And this is an extra card in the deck, and I leave these in, and that's Divine Wisdom. Look at that. New life, growth, starting over and coming into Divine Wisdom. This is like co-creating with Spirit, being in flow with spirit, having an open crown chakra, and having lots of wisdom to share, being someone who can be a guide for others, stepping into a new life of being, being your own kind of teacher, of being a shepherd, kind of, I don't know why psychopomp is coming through, and, almost like a medium for other people's spiritual growth and starting over, like that by you, excuse me, going through this process, it's really leading you to your purpose, the new life that really is, setting you up for living your divine purpose and, cultivating this wisdom. And look, it even has the caduceus in it, or I think this is the caduceus or the staff of Hermes, and that is a sign of healing, that you are a healer, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be healing other people, but you will be someone who can facilitate other people in their own healing journey. And that's really beautiful, pile 2. I love that. Okay, so now that we've pulled your tarot, I am going to shuffle some cards that are questions that Spirit would like you to ponder and consider while you are on this journey of working towards your goal of a new life. Okay, and that was really quick. Okay, how can I be more flexible right now? Flexibility, yes, allowing with this Tower energy. Okay, what are you trying to control? Maybe it's time to let go. Let love move through you today and trust the outcome will be for your highest good. Exactly. Okay, in today's soul action, remind yourself all day long that you are safe, that life is happening for you, and that you are not alone. Then do some yoga. Okay. All right, yoga will help to open up, that sense of flexibility, and just remembering that the things that are happening for you right now, they're not happening to you, they're happening for you, for your expansion and for your growth. I love that for you, pile 2. Okay, let's see which other question Spirit has for you to ponder. Okay, Spirit, what else do you have for pile 2? What question do you have for pile 2? What question do you have for pile 2? Okay. All right, and you got 3. I'm just going to take the one that is on top, and it says, what are the dominant emotions that run my life? And then you have, do I know all my strengths and am I using them? And when was the last time I couldn't stop laughing or smiling? Okay, so I'm just going to take this one. And what are the dominant emotions that run my life? How do you feel your day? Stress or joy? Trust or anger? Anxiety or peace? We have only today, right now, the journey. No goal, no destination will bring us the feeling we seek. But when we begin filling every day with that which we value most, we will attract more of it. This is fulfillment. Okay. And today's soul action, lean into what you want to feel and adjust your life, your values, and your expectations to match your desires. What do you want to feel? Are you willing to let go of the belief that you have to achieve something to feel it? Yes, or let go of some of those old beliefs that could be holding you, keeping you stuck from starting over. So yeah, that's really, really something to consider, pile 2. So now we're going to pull your mystery oracle, and this is from the Nirvana Oracle. So I'm going to read it out of the book because the book is so good. It has so much wisdom. So let's see what you have. You have the Rose Phoenix. All right, look, and I said some kind of phoenix rising from the ashes. Okay, so let's see what the book has to say about the Rose Phoenix. Be bold, and mighty forces will come to your aid. And that's a quote from Basil King, The Conquest of Fear. And it says, today you are stepping into spiritual completion. Look at that. Starting over, new life. You have done the work to heal the past and are becoming more and more masterful with managing your emotions in the present. The future you that has all the answers and has already accomplished its mission for humanity is able to send you energy across time and space for you to be nourished and empowered now. Look, growth. That spiralic time, that is so cool. Like a rosebud, you have fully blossomed, and like a phoenix, you are rising from the past, flying fearlessly into an inspiring horizon. Beautiful. And it says, step 1, create a rose in your mind, even if the image comes quickly. Spend some time filling in the details and creating each petal. Put each neutral, positive, and negative thought into the rose. Watch this rose expand in your mind's eye, and then explode it to create space. And it says, step 2, breathe in and out 10 times through your mouth as if you were breathing through a straw, inhaling the mystery of life and exhaling all stuck emotions from the body. Step 3, set an intention for whatever information you need right now to best assist your journey to cultivate the greatest good for not only your soul, but the planet at large. Step 4, ground yourself into your body and envision the highest incarnation of yourself sitting in front of you. Step 5, watch their breathing pattern. How do they breathe life? Where are they breathing it from? Begin to mimic the depth and frequency of their breath. Step 6, as they exhale, feel the color and energy of their field come out of their mouth. Breathe their energy into your body and exhale it back to them. Watch them breathe you in. After a couple of moments of this, watch their body and yours merge into one. Soften into the energy and just be. Since you have completed the healing process, you've now called upon your highest timeline to be the truth of your experience. Know that it is, and trust the intuitive knowing that will naturally express itself through you. Oh my God, that is great. That is so cool, Pile 2. And the mantra it has is, I've merged with my highest timeline and completed an important phase of my healing path. I trust all the work I've done on my spirit and mind is solidified and built to last. Beautiful as a rose, but protected by time's thorns. Where I once was lost, I am now fully reborn. Look at that, starting over. Okay, that could not be more aligned. I'm so excited for you, Pile 2. Okay, so we're going to get a couple more oracle messages to close out the reading and see what last messages Spirit has for you. Spirit, what last final messages do you have for Pile 2? What final messages do you have for Pile 2? Okay. I really wanted to come out. Okay, and it got card 32, total submersion. Don't be afraid to totally immerse yourself in a project, interest, or goal. Give it 100% of your energy, and you may find what your life has been lacking. Okay, so like throw yourself completely into something that really, brings you brings you joy and, grows you spiritually. Yeah, and, fosters some kind of spiritual wisdom, or just makes you feel light and, brings in a sense of fun, where some of this energy might be really dense, okay? Because what are the emotions that are dominating your life right now? Maybe they're really, really heavy and you need some lightness, right? So that's something to consider, Pile 2. Let's see what else Spirit has for you. What other oracle message do you have for Pile 2? And here we have total submersion and looking at the underbelly. Okay, so these are all about depth. It says, be sure that you are using your time in the best possible manner. You might consider taking time to organize yourself, or perhaps a project you are working on could use some fine tuning. Okay, so, kind of checking and rechecking your work, allowing for some flexibility. If there's a certain way that, like if you're working on a project, if you're used to doing things a certain way, maybe, calling in, kind of some tower energy to make space for doing things a different way, that allows you to kind of grow and expand. So that's really nice. And then look on the back of the deck, facing your fears. Look for ways to strengthen your connection to the universe and others. Stay peaceful and calm in the knowing of who you are. That is so beautiful. All right, well, Pile 2, this is all I'm seeing for your reading. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks so much for watching. And if the reading resonated, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Drop me a comment letting me know what pile you picked and if it gave you any clarity. I always find it interesting to see what piles you all are drawn to, and I read and respond to every single comment. If writing out a whole comment feels like a lot, drop me an emoji that speaks to where you are or how the reading resonated. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you feel called to. I would love to have you here. Stay safe, keep your heart open, and remember, you are the magic. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Hello, Pile 3, and welcome to your reading. So let's look at how Spirit wants you to take wise action to achieve your current goal. I already have some oracle cards picked out for you. Then we're going to look at some tarot and round out your reading with more closing oracle messages. So let's see what we have here. This oracle is going to be for later on in the reading, so we're going to leave that here, but let's go ahead and turn over your oracle cards. And we have power. Okay, that is very, very, that's some serious energy, Pile 3. Intelligence with the crow and dogwood. Okay, this is like some serious powerful stuff. And jealousy. Okay, Pile 3, what do you guys have going on? I'm feeling a lot coming off of this, and it kind of is going two ways here. All right, let me settle into this because there are a lot of messages coming through right now. Let me say right off the top, if you intuitively could not choose between Pile 3 and Pile 1, you might want to check out Pile 1 because this reading already feels like they're kind of tied together. So, I just want to let you know that ahead of time. Like energetically, I'm already kind of feeling that. It feels like for you, Pile 3, that in a way, you are trying to manifest more power in your life to feel like you can protect yourself from people who might or might not say negative things about you or throw negative energy at you, whether or not it's intentional or unintentional, like throwing evil eye at you or sending negative energy your way. And also, it feels like you are trying to manifest the power to kind of let go of some sort of imposter syndrome. That's what it feels like, especially with the crow and intelligence here. It's like you're trying to manifest foresight, because crows are a sign of intuition and kind of like prophecy as well, that you're kind of trying to be able to see what's coming in order to be able to protect yourself, as well as to, like, with jealousy, it could kind of go both ways. And I'm not saying like, we all have periods where we can feel jealousy or envy. That's not, anything negative for, this to come up. It's just that sometimes when we are, trying to establish ourselves in a certain industry, or we are moving into like making friends with a new group, or, coming into our spirituality and we're kind of new to it, or, this can manifest itself in so many different ways in our career, in our relationships. We can feel kind of that imposter syndrome, or, that people are kind of like doing so much better than we are, and are so much more natural at fitting in, or that, they're just better at things, and we can feel a little bit like it's not the same for us, or that we're faking it and like we're putting on a certain like image to fit in. Or even if we have like genuine talents, like say, I'm a tarot reader and I've been reading tarot for close to 3.5 years now, and I still feel really big imposter syndrome sometimes. Like even now, establishing this YouTube channel, I'm like, there are so many other voices out there. Why would anybody care what I have to say? And that's something that I kind of have to work through, because I see other people and it like looks so easy from the outside. And like when I'm setting up videos and, trying to plan content and stuff, I'm like, oh, this takes so long. Or like, I don't hit my goals of like getting a video out every week or every 2 weeks. And it feels like, maybe this is not the right thing for me, because it would be easier. It looks so easy that everybody else is doing it, right? But that's just our perception of what we see as the end product of what other people are doing. Like we're not walking in their shoes, right? So we can all kind of come from that place of feeling, jealousy or envy, or like we're not good enough. We, and kind of speak those kind of, let's say, curses over ourselves, and disempower ourselves with those kind of negative comparisons. And that's why I'm saying that this really does feel like it's tied into group one, but it's like we're kind of giving away our power. And that could also be, it's not just one way. It could be the same thing where, we are used to being outsiders and other people kind of like rejecting our talents or our gifts, or us not fitting into certain groups or industries, or relationships, they don't work out, or, we've been excluded from certain groups or what have you. And it can feel like people have kind of made us feel powerless, because it felt like they had a say over what we could and couldn't do, what we could and couldn't be a part of, and what it felt like we were worth, right? That it felt like they were able to assign a value to us, right? So it can go a little bit, each way. And this crow is really like coming into the wisdom of being able to own your power and to summon that and really live from a place that is, a positive place of power, and being able to kind of be empowered in your everyday and kind of let some of that go. And then also with power and jealousy, also being able to protect yourself, right? To have that protection, that divine protection, and then like just protection in your everyday life, especially if you're like into magical workings, learning how to cast a circle around yourself and do protection spells, and, kind of send that energy back the way that it came from, like with return to sender spells and all of that, and kind of working with spirit to create a circle of, divine protection around yourself. And that can be in the physical as well, because I'm hearing boundaries. So having energetic physical boundaries as well, and being able to like speak up with this intelligence. Crows do remind me of the element of air, and to be able to voice what your boundaries are, for people that may not have your best interest in mind, that you may not necessarily be able to avoid interacting with, right? Because there are people in our lives that we just have to, like, if you're in a work environment and there's somebody that you feel like doesn't have very good energy, and like they kind of bring you down, or they're draining you, or they're just really like negative towards you, make you feel bad, that You know, there is some kind of boundary that you need to put up in order to be able to function in that environment, because it's not necessarily like you can just quit your job or move to a new department. And, you know, that can come up in several different ways, like in your family, somebody that you have to interact with whether you want to or not. So, you know, so many different ways that this is coming up. But, you know, Spirit is saying that, like, there is some wisdom and intelligence that, and kind of knowledge and practice that you're trying to come into that helps you kind of own your power, and yeah, to really like feel confident in yourself as well, like truly empowered. This feels like Lilith energy, and like very Plutonic energy, like in the positive vibration of, you know, being, you know, that you can kind of be that person that it doesn't matter if like you rub people the wrong way, that you're still okay and like secure in who you are, right? So that is really you know, a place that is like owning your personal power. So that's really, really beautiful, pile 2. It's a big undertaking. It's definitely not easy, and it's something that is like a long-term process, and you know, it takes refining and, you know, going over again. You know, it's never like a one and done. And just like with the crow, like wisdom, intelligence, it's a lifelong process. So, you know, this is a big undertaking, excuse me, that you're going through. So let's go ahead and shuffle your oracle cards. I mean, excuse me, your tarot cards. I've already pre-shuffled, but I'm going to go ahead and shuffle some more and then pull them, and I will explain what each of the spread placements are when we pull them. So, okay, well, we got one here, and that's the 2 of Cups. Okay, that makes a lot of excuse me, I can't speak today. Makes a lot of sense. The 2 of Cups. Okay. Okay, let's see what else we have here. And for this first spread placement, I am so tongue-tied. I think it's because Mercury retrograde is coming up, and I am ruled by Mercury because I'm a Virgo rising. But anyway, the first placement is resist, and this is what you need to avoid doing because it will most likely have negative consequences for you. So let's go ahead and see what the rest of your spread is. Spirit, please tell me when to stop shuffling. Okay. All right. Right. And we have the 4 of Cups. And this is the persist placement, which is where you gently need to push yourself forward and out of your comfort zone. So it's resist, persist, exist. And then we'll have the bottom of the deck for the outcome. And let's see. We have the 3 of Swords, which is exist. So this is where to surrender. Okay, I already can tell where that is guiding us. And then the back of the deck for the outcome. And we will look at that after we talk about these tarot cards. Okay, let's get into it. So we have 2 cups and a swords card, and we have 2, 3, and 4. So that is a progression here. Even though they're not 2, 3, 4, I still read it as like taking practical steps, right? Like I said, it's a journey. So in the resist position, avoiding doing the 2 of Cups, this to me, yeah, this again is like that negative comparison thing. And it's so crazy. Yeah, this was coming up in pile 1 too. It's like maybe in order to own your power, like at this time, if you've put a lot of investment into like relationships and what another person in close relationship, excuse me, would have like opinions about you or what they said or how they felt, right? Because this is Cups, kind of taking on that energy. So it's Spirit really wants you to avoid kind of getting so wrapped up in someone else's energy that you forget who you are, right? That you forget your own sense of power and agency, and you kind of take on the feelings and the emotions and kind of the thoughts of others about yourself. Because with this intelligence here, it's almost like you're meant to kind of be in your head a little bit more than in your heart, because the heart can really influence us to do things that aren't quite as rational, if you get my meaning. Like we can really get swept up into, you know, relationships where we're merging with someone else. And, you know, that could be something that is kind of what you've done in relationships in the past. And, you know, that's not a bad thing. It's just in this period of your life with the goal that you're trying to reach of like coming into your own personal power, this might be a time where you need to step back from romantic relationships for now, you know, not forever, but to kind of just get to know who you are, you know, and use this 2 of Cups to be in relationship with you and your higher self. You as a person in the present, and your internal self and your outer self, and kind of making sure that those two parts of yourself align, right? Rather than it being you and another outside of yourself. So that's really what Spirit is saying. Like, take a step back from that for right now. That's not going to be the most important part on your journey until you kind of come into a space where you feel more fulfilled in yourself. And that doesn't mean that you have to be like a perfect person or healed or whole before you have a relationship. If anybody tells you that, it's total bullshit. Like, don't buy it, because, we're always learning and growing, and it's a total journey throughout our lives, right? It's just that Spirit is saying, like, for now, because this is kind of the place that you are in this period. And that could be 3 months, that could be 6 months, that could be a year. It's not anything that's set in stone for you, that this is kind of just where Spirit wants you to be. Okay, so I don't want to discourage anyone. I don't want to make anybody feel like you're doomed in relationships or anything. Like, I'm never going to say that. So yeah, that's just something that Spirit is saying. And then persist, where Spirit wants you to gently push yourself forward and out of your comfort zone, is kind of trying things new and kind of looking for new opportunities. And like, if you are constantly looking at those 3 cups of like what it is that you're familiar with and they're not really fulfilling you, seek out that 4th cup that Spirit is extending to you, that you might not be looking at because you're so focused on what it is that you had in the past, that you might trying to be like recovering in past relationships. Like, the good parts is something that I'm kind of feeling, where you might romanticize parts of the past of relationships that weren't really positive and weren't feeding your growth, to kind of step away from that and shift your perspective and what you're focusing on. So that's what Spirit is asking you to persist in, to not stay rooted and grounded in the past, but look forward to like what it is that you want for your future, because that sometimes can really cloud our thinking, cloud our judgment, because what you have in the exist and where you need to surrender and be in flow from Spirit is the 3 of Swords. And that is really processing a lot of the pain that you've experienced, especially if you are kind of trying to shove it away and not feel it, because it makes you feel disempowered, because it makes you feel like somebody has taken something away from you, that it can be really hard to surrender to the feeling that you have been kind of disempowered by other people, or that you've really been hurt by other people in the ways that you didn't deserve it, because you might take on more responsibility than you should for things that weren't necessarily your fault, or taking ownership of other people's stuff in relationships. And Spirit is saying, like, that is not for you. That's not yours to carry. And there is an element of dropping down into your heart, and kind of also, swords are the mind, but processing those feelings of the ways that, your heart has really been broken in some relationships where, where jealousy could have been present, where people could have said some really hurtful things to you out of, envy, if they felt like you weren't deserving of something, and they felt like they, if you had an accomplishment and they felt like, I should have that, not you, but they didn't want to necessarily say it outright to you, but they would be really shady about it. And, I'm getting the sense that, like, I'm having a really strong feeling that some of you have been gaslighted a lot in relationships, where like you couldn't quite put a finger on why something felt wrong to you in relationships, but people were being shitty to you and kind of like not doing it to your face, or kind of like not admitting to what they were doing, and it would make you feel really confused. And this is a time with this 3 of Swords of like processing that and really gaining the wisdom from those experiences and kind of learning from them, so that when you do come back to this period where you're trying to form new relationships, that you're not carrying that with you, even subconsciously, into the future. And it won't mean that you don't remember, it won't mean that it doesn't still hurt, it just means that like it won't be under the surface subconsciously affecting your conscious decisions, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and let's look at, okay, that makes total sense. The outcome is the King of Swords. Yeah, you'll have a lot more clarity with this intelligence, a lot more clarity, a lot more insight into other people's motivations, into your motivations, a lot more able to own your power, and also to see through other people's bullshit. So, if someone is really throwing negative energy at you, it won't be something where like you can feel that something's off, but you can't quite like process it or express it. You'll be coming into a more like conscious level of wisdom, where like you can call it out, you can see it, and you'll be able to move away from it, or speak up for yourself and really own your power. So that's the goal that you're looking for. So right now it's really like coming into your own and processing these experiences and gaining the wisdom and fortifying yourself from all the things that you've been through and learning from it, right? And this can feel like a very internal process. It may not look like you're doing a lot from the outside, but you can be doing this in therapy if therapy feels right for you. You can do this through journaling. You can do this, I would recommend, I'm not a licensed mental health clinician, but, having some level of support for yourself as you're moving through these things, because it really is not easy, and there could be a lot of triggering experiences that come up. So, it just behooves me to say that if you have the resources to be in some sort of therapeutic support environment while you're processing a lot of these heavy emotions, that I would definitely recommend that for you, pile 3. So let's go ahead and pull some questions that Spirit would like you to ponder as you are working towards this goal of empowerment. All right, let's see what Spirit would like to pose. Spirit, what questions do you have for pile 3? What questions do you have for pile 3? Oh, okay. Okay. If I had a magic wand and could have anything I desired in life, what would I choose? Okay. And it says, burn with desire. There's power in your desires. Look at that, power in your desires. Let them be your fuel today. Your desires are your soul's wings, and it's time to take flight. Today's soul action. Today, go inward. That's amazing. Today, go inward. Your answers lie within. What do you desire? Choose what makes you happy and do that. Yes, do that. Like, you are meant to focus on you right now, what you want, not what other people want for you, not what other people want you to do for them. This is a time about your self-empowerment, pile 3. So let's go ahead and get one more question. Spirit, what else would you like pile 3 to consider? What else would you like pile 3 to consider? Please show me clearly. Other question do you have for pile 3? Yeah, you're gonna feel so much more like embodied. Okay, well, you got 2 more, so I'm gonna keep them both. And it says, what boundaries, we were just talking about boundaries, what boundaries need to be created or strengthened within my relationships, right? That is really creating some strong boundaries where you say yes, you say no, and you do not allow other people to trample on the lines, or the boundaries that you set. To create more healthy boundaries, we must first get in tune with our own needs, desires, and feelings, and believe we are worthy of them. In your relationships, it's essential to know where they end and where you begin, right? 2 of Cups, that's what I said. You need time to be in your own energy. Today's soul action. When we separate our energy from others, we gain clarity about what we really want. Then we stop doing things that no longer align with ourselves. If you are an empath, you can still be compassionate towards others without taking on their stuff. It is safe to trust that you are not here to fix anyone. Today's mantra, I have everything I need within me now, and so do they. I am worthy of my needs, and I set boundaries based on what's best for me. That is beautiful, pile 3, beautiful. Okay, and let's see what other questions, since you guys got 3. Am I on the right path? Sometimes we second guess what we're doing. We lose trust in the process and question if we are even on the right path at all. Know this, you are on the right path. Keep going, keep believing, keep remembering that you made a soul contract that you are currently fulfilling in every area of your life. Even if you can't see it, that doesn't mean it's not real. Today's soul action. Today's search for all the ways you are aligned with your soul's purpose. The signs will appear. Let this newfound trust fuel your next steps. Okay, yes. So you are on the right path. You are on the right path. You just need to trust your path, trust yourself, trust the intelligence and the wisdom of your internal system, of your gut. Trusting your gut is very important. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn over your mystery oracle card, and I am going to read it out of the book because this is the Nirvana oracle and the book is so good. So we have Maktub. I hope I'm saying that correctly. These cards are so beautiful. Okay, and I'm going to get the book and I'm going to read that out of the book. Okay, and it says, it's not life that's complicated. It's the struggle to guide and control life. And that is a quote from F. Scott Fitzgerald, and that's from This Side of Paradise. So it says, go with the flow is a piece of advice that may feel difficult to wrap our brains around, especially when things feel particularly challenging. How can we flow with the current of life when we may constantly feel as though we are treading water, attempting to avoid the riptide, and doing whatever we can to stay afloat? How can we establish a greater sense of trust when the ripple of reality feels overwhelming? Well, what this concept essentially means is to consciously let go of any resistance that may be occurring when it comes to trying to control the circumstances in our lives, and to instead use the tools we have to navigate nebulousness with faith. Maktub in Arabic translate to "it is written," and it is the idea of predestination or destiny. In other words, God, creator, source, whichever name you feel most comfortable with, already knows everything that ever was and ever will be, because it has already been written in the sacred book of this life experience. What comes our way may not always be in our hands, but how we respond can be. It often appears that life is an accident, but perhaps it is actually a culmination of past karma, unconscious creation, and the butterfly effect of our greater connectivity. Going with the flow does not mean that you just sit back idly, because again, you have the power to be in control of your response to any situation. If stones are thrown at you, don't shirk away or hide in a sense of smallness. Build a castle with those stones instead of a prison. While the unexpected that comes your way is not always within your conscious decision, what you make out of it can be. See, this is all about your personal power. While the unexpected, I already read that part. This card is here to remind you that you have the power to chisel and shape your reality. Never forget that you already have all the tools you need to do so. So how will you respond to what life brings your way? What is your decision? What will you build? Beautiful. Okay, and the mantra is, I flow with fate, but also understand my conscious freedom to mold, shape, and create each day of my life. I choose to be an architect of experience, to embrace the wisdom of the mysterious and the sacredness of creation's light. Okay, beautiful. So see, it really is about taking control of your thoughts, of your own actions, harnessing and taking your power back and creating boundaries. So yeah, it's really cool how all of that really aligned. It's like you really are coming into a place where you're owning your power. Not that you can control everything, but you really are taking ownership of what you can do something about, right? So yeah, I love that. So let's go ahead, pile 3, and pull some closing oracle messages and see what else Spirit has to say. Spirit, what do you have for pile 3? What other closing advice do you have for pile 3? I feel like this is a threshold where you're going in one way and you're coming out completely different. Like you will never be the same, after this process of really going into owning your power. Like you can't go back. So you got card 18, clearing the excess. Look what I just said. You are entering a transitional phase and would benefit from clearing away excess clutter, whether it is in your physical body or your physical space. Okay, so you really are in a transitional phase. And there is a lot of, especially with this 3 of Swords, emotional clearage, mental clearing, and also there might be some physical clearing where you might have physical representations or things that, gifts that someone gave you that have maybe negative energy tied to them that you might need to purge from your space. And, maybe just in general, things that you have that remind you of the past that, just don't align with you anymore energetically. And it's just time to get them out of your environment and bring in something new, right? So clearing the excess, really, taking time to, out with the old, in with the new kind of energy, pile 3. Okay, let's see what else we have. Spirit, what do you have for pile 3? Okay, and you got 2 here, but I'm just going to take the one on the top. It says amble with contentment and adrift in the shallow water. Take a few deep breaths and reconnect to your inner peace. Notice the small things and appreciate them. Okay, and it says amble with contentment. Waiting rather than acting is going to be the most advantageous now. Okay, so yeah, that's what I was saying, like in the realm of relationships. Like wait, give yourself time to really come into your own energy. Like there's no rush to make new connections at this time, because that will come, and it'll be worth the wait is something that I'm really getting. And then on the back of the deck, we have leaping through the air. A plan you have made is on track. If you're waiting for something, get to work and stop putting off ideas or projects you are considering. Okay, so don't stall. Okay, the time is now to start doing this work. And yeah, like it's all within reach for you. And Spirit is really working with you. Spirit wants you to really come into your power, to establish those boundaries. And remember, boundaries are not walls, they're fences. So it's not to keep everything out. It's just to keep out what is not aligned for you. And then to create barriers where, maintain relationships so that you don't have to cut them off, right? Boundaries aren't about keeping people out. They're about keeping the good stuff in as well. So All right, pile 3, that is what I have for you. I'm going to leave it here. Thanks so much for watching. And if this video resonated, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Drop me a comment letting me know what pile you picked and if it gave you any clarity. I always find it interesting to see what piles you all are drawn to, and I read and respond to every single comment. If writing out a whole comment feels like a lot, you can drop me an emoji that speaks to where you are or how the reading resonated. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you feel called to. I'd love to have you here. Stay safe, keep your heart open, and remember, you are the magic. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.